talent that seeks to educate, inspire, and entertain audience as the Red Carpet CEO. She is an empowerment speaker, Colby certified consultant, co-founder, and executive producer of Dream Maniac, sorry. And this is why she's good at what she does, because as part of the branding, she makes people get it right. Attention to details. Co-founder and executive producer, host, broadcaster, author, actor, beauty, style, and personal branding expert. She is the founder of Alicia Corey and Red Carpet CEO. Current Mrs. Elite United States Woman of Achievement 2020, an award winner as named one of the 100 most influential women by Boys and Girls Club of America for 2018. Now she said, I didn't have to read all of this, but I want to. When somebody has invested this amount of time to excellence, don't you want to hear more about what they did and how they did it? Yeah. Alicia has appeared on ABC, CBS, NBC, multiple radio shows and podcasts, stars as the lead in multiple independent movies, and best-selling Amazon author and co-author of multiple books on Amazon.com. Alicia has a mission to help leaders step into their audacious confidence, to live a life without limits, and is the founder, creator, and host of a live multi-stream web show called The Audacious Confidence Show. As a corporate consultant, Alicia works with individual leaders, companies big and small, to close the gap between performance and productivity, reduce stress, strain, and conflict in the workplace, and to promote a happier, healthier environment that is productive, boosting, and generating more profits for the company. Please give a huge round of applause.
Sweaty palms, your heart's racing, and you're feeling that at any moment, someone's going to walk into the room and say, you don't belong here. You need to go. We found somebody else. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been in situations where I felt like that's going to happen to me, right? Like, I don't belong here. Why did they choose me to be here? And so, you don't have to raise your hand, and you don't have to agree, but 7 out of 10 of you have probably felt that. And that's the statistic. 70% of Americans have felt at one time or the other that they are not worthy, they're a fraud, and they don't belong. So, let me tell you some of the symptoms of the imposter syndrome. When something comes easily or naturally to you and you feel like you really didn't do anything. How about, that wasn't that important. I mean, it's not like I'm curing cancer or, like solving world peace. You know what, I feel kind of like a fraud sometimes. And you read that bio and it's like, who did all of that? I don't know. Also, you think that sometimes your success is attributed just to dumb luck. Maybe I'm just lucky. You're unable to repeat past success. Like you did this thing and it's like, oh my God, that's so awesome. There is no way I can ever do that again. How about you feel like you're fooling everyone around you? Like they don't really know that I'm not really that good. I'm just, I'm just faking it till I make it. And then, how about this one? One day, they'll really figure out that I'm not good as the next person. And can I tell you a little story about that? When you talked about me being a beauty expert, and 17 years ago, I started a company doing hair and makeup on site for, big events. And I started this company and I thought, what am I doing? I'm not a great makeup artist, I took a few classes and, I know how to do makeup, but why am I starting this company? There are more talented people out there than I am. And as people started asking more and more from me, I kept thinking, why are they asking for me? This other person is much better at doing that than I am. And as a result of that, I charged less for my services than I ought to have. So I always ended up giving someone a deal because I didn't value what I did, even though people were asking for me. So let me ask again, has anyone experienced any of these kind of symptoms? Oh yeah, more people, yay! More people raise their hand. And I'll tell you something, you're in really good company. Serena Williams has said that she's not as good a tennis player as Venus when she was younger. She thought that she tried so hard to be like Venus, because she wasn't that good. David Bowie worked so hard because he always felt like what he did was never good enough. So he continued to work harder. Tina Fey said when she was working at SNL, I'm a fraud. She would scream in her head, I'm a fraud. They're going to figure me out. Sheryl Sandberg, when she was appointed COO of Facebook, she also said that, they made a mistake. Why did they choose me? And Maya Angelou, she wrote 11 books. And each time she launched a book, she would say, uh-oh, now they're going to know. Now they're going to know. I'm not really that good. And here are a few others. Kate Winslet. Over the years, the stakes have become higher for me. Sometimes I wake up in the morning before going off to a shoot, and I think, I can't do this. I'm a fraud. Natalie Portman, when she started going to Harvard, she said she feels like she wasn't smart enough to be in this company, and every time she opened her mouth, I would have to prove that I wasn't just a dumb actress. Emma Watson, at any moment someone's going to find out that I'm a total fraud and that I don't deserve any of what I've achieved. Ryan Reynolds says, to be honest, I still feel like a freckle-faced kid, faking it until I make it. Tom Hanks, he said that, how did I get here? When are they going to discover that, in fact, I am, in fact, a fraud and take everything away from me? Meryl Streep said, why would anyone want to see me again in a movie? And I don't know how to act anyway. So why am I doing this? And this one is really cute because Jodie Foster, she won an Oscar at 11, I believe, and she said she said she would go to bed at night thinking they'd come to my house, knock on the door, and say, excuse me, we meant to give this to someone else, like Meryl Streep. So, there are so many people who are experiencing this on a daily basis. And what are some of the dangers of this? So this isn't just, a little thing. This can really be detrimental. I said before that, I charge less for my services than I should have. How about this? You don't speak out and you sit silent and your brilliant ideas are never heard because you don't believe they're smart enough. You're smart enough or that they're good enough. You become timid, you increase anxiety, depression, and you hold yourself back from bigger opportunities. And I have a great story about that. When I was, oh my gosh, I'm going to date myself because in 1992, I was going to college. I was in fashion school, and there was an internship that came up to work at MTV Latino. I don't speak Spanish. So I didn't think that, why would I even go try to be in the styling department at MTV Latino? But the chairman of the department actually came to me. There were 2 people going to be chosen, and she came to me and she said, I want you to go and work at MTV Latino. So I said, okay. So me and this other person, he spoke Spanish fluently. So we were at MTV Latino. I was literally in the closet every single day for 6 months, ironing and cataloging and doing everything a nice little worker bee should do, while he was on set with Daisy Fuentes schmoozing away, and I was getting upset, like, why am I doing all the work and he's getting all the fun? Because he was willing to step out and be bold, and I was scared like heck to step out and do anything but do my job in the closet, right? So that feeling like I didn't belong there made me feel like I couldn't step out and do something bold and something different. And I couldn't be that person out there, learning more and styling, actually doing the work of styling the celebrity on set. I was in the closet doing all the little things to make sure that everything was ready. And then he would take it out and get all the glory. But that was on me. It wasn't on him. At the time I thought it was on him, but it was on me. So as a result, you stall innovation and creativity. You burn out. You feel like you have to work harder to prove that you belong there. And if you continue to feel like a fraud and that you're not good enough, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You suddenly become a fraud and you are not good enough. And you do end up with that person coming through the door and telling you, you need to leave. But the good news to that is, it's not a disease. It's just a condition in your mind. It's just a mindset. And there are ways that you can easily overcome this. And I'm going to share some of those with you right now. The first one is to become aware. So I'm glad many of you raised your hand when I said, if you recognize any of those symptoms, because awareness is really the first step. When you become aware, then when it shows up again, then you can use the tools that I'm about to share with you so that you don't fall victim to that dreaded imposter syndrome. So the first thing I'm going to share with you is cognitive restructuring. Anybody ever heard that before? Okay, so cognitive restructuring is really just changing your mind about it. And how you can do that, so I'm going to share, this is going to be fun. But before I go on to the next slide, I'm going to share this with you. So I have a friend who has started a movement. It's called the I Am Enough movement. And she has these little cards. And they're so cute because it says I am enough. And then on the back, they have 3 little lines for you to write, I am enough because. And you write on the back, because I made my own breakfast this morning. Or because, whatever it is that you feel proud about yourself. And every time you feel a little down, you can just say, I am enough because, and that is one way that you can start doing the cognitive restructuring. So I have these cards if anybody wants any of those cards. But here's another really cute way you can do cognitive restructuring. Anyone ever seen the movie The Help?
Oh, yes.
Right. So this movie, but she has this little girl that she's taking care of, and the little girl, so the little girl, her mom thinks that she's a little tubby and she's not that good, and she spanks her and stuff. So she sits with her and she tells her, you is kind, you is smart, you is important. And the little girl repeats that. So I want you to repeat that to me. Say, you is kind,
You is kind,
you is smart,
and
you is important. So that starts the cognitive restructuring. Every time you feel down on yourself, you just tell yourself, you is kind, you is smart, you is important. So Albert Einstein says that everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. Sometimes we're in situations where we are fish trying to climb a tree. And it's important to realize when we're in those kind of situations, because then that you don't have to feel like you're dumb trying to do something that you're not meant to do. And so I'm going to share with you 7 secrets to audacious confidence. But I'm not going to share, I'm going to tell you what all 7 are, but I just don't have time to go into all 7. So if you're taking notes, and you can get this, you can download this on my website at the end. So number 1 is know yourself and love yourself. Number 2 is preparation. Number 3 is passion and purpose. Number 4 is your spiritual tags, and I'll talk about number 4 in a minute. Number 5 is resistances. Number 6 is your alter ego. And number 7 is learn how to say no to what you need to say no to, and how to say yes to what you need to say yes to. So let's start with number 1. Know yourself and love yourself. So who is a fan of assessments out there? I know I am. I've taken a bunch of assessments. So one of the assessments, why I'm a Colby certified assessment, is that Colby, which is this one here, is strength-based assessment, and it measures the cognitive part of the mind. The cognitive part of the mind is the doing part of the mind. So we talked about a fish climbing a tree. A fish cannot climb a tree. That's the doing part. So if you are in a situation where you're actually doing things that are you're not naturally wired to do, then you will feel stupid. You will feel dumb. You feel like you don't belong there. So Kolbe is an assessment that helps you understand what you are naturally wired instinctively to do. And there are different action modes, and that's what this chart looks like. So to tell you how you do what you do and why you do it. Another part of knowing yourself is, if you've ever heard of the Johari window. So the Johari window helps you see who is my public self? Who does everybody know me as? And understanding. So this is something I do in branding when I'm helping someone with their branding. What is my hidden self? What is the self, the part that I keep hidden from everybody else? Maybe there are things in that hidden part of me that people need to know about that they don't know. Not cybersecurity stuff. And then, what are my blind spots? See, we don't see our blind spots. We need someone else, like a coach or a mentor, to help us see our blind spots, see the things that are holding us back and keeping us from actually accomplishing the goals that we need to accomplish. And then the unconscious self. That's the self that you don't know what you're going to do or how you're going to react when you actually get into a situation. That's the part of yourself that you don't really know what's going to happen. So those are some ways that you can start learning about yourself. And again, let's do this together. You is kind. You is smart. You is important. Just remember that when you leave here today, because everybody's so beautiful in this room. So another part of knowing yourself and loving yourself. See, I like to work with the core of somebody. And so core for me stands for character. So you need to know what your character is. Some people go through life and they never really think about, who am I? You know, who am I in this world? Where are you oriented? You know, what are your values? How do you see yourself in this world? How do you want to present yourself to the world? And then I have 3 R's. It is your reputation, your results, and your relevance. We're all in the tech industry here, at least you guys are, I am. But, you know, are you being relevant? So you have to look at those 3 R's. And then the E, I have 2 E's, it's your expertise and your experience. You know, when you start cataloging these things, you start realizing, wait a second, I do know some stuff. I am important. You know, so, but you have to recognize those things yourself. Sometimes we don't take the time to really catalog who we are and what we think about and how we fit into the world that we live in. So I talked about tags, and to me, your tags are your talents, your assets, your gifts, and your skills. This is another thing you have to catalog. What are my talents? So talents are things that you have a knack for. I had a knack for doing makeup, but I devalued that because it came so easily for me. You know, I didn't, like people, I had a coach that told me, well, you need to start like creating a process for how you do something. And I thought, I don't have a process for it. I just look at a face and I know what to do. I don't know how that happens. There's just a download that comes and I just pick the right colors. I didn't go learn about, well, I learned color theory after, but you know, like, I just knew. So that was a talent. Assets, what do you have? I think I have a pretty good sense of humor. I mean, maybe, some may think so, but I think so. So, you know, catalog your assets. I'm short. That's an asset. Some people may look at it as a liability, but that's an asset to me because I can fit into tiny places. You know? It's just the way you look at it. Yeah. Sometimes I can squeeze between 2 people and sit on a train or on a bus. Some people have to stand up. That's an asset. So sometimes you just have to look at what you have and look at it as an asset instead of a liability. I was a flight attendant. I thought I was too short to be a flight attendant, but guess what? They said, you have other assets. I said, well, good. Thank you very much. I was happy about that. Got to fly all over the world. Your gifts. To me, your talents can be your gift if you're using it in the service of others. That's a gift. How are you using yourself in service of others? I have a talent for speaking, but I use it as in the service of others to help them grow, to influence, educate, inspire, and entertain wherever I go. And then your skills. Skills are things that you learn. What have you learned that you can now say that I have a skill for doing that? So sometimes it's a talent that you have to hone into a skill. So, start looking at your tags. Again, let's say it again. You is kind. You is smart. You is important. That's right. When you go in the mirror tonight, look at yourself and say that. So number 6 is your alter ego. This is my favorite tool to teach somebody because a lot of people don't really understand what an alter ego is. And it's not that you're embodying someone else, but an alter ego is really you if you were a superhero. So think about what you really want to do with your life and then build that character. What are the characteristics? How do they do that? What do they look like? How do they dress? How do they walk? How do they talk? And then you're able to now frame that out and step into that. So my alter ego, I'll tell you about my alter ego in a little bit, but I created my whole alter ego and the wildest thing happened. You're going to have to wait for the story. The wildest thing happened. But Stefani, I want to say her name right, Stefani Germanotti. Anybody know who that is?
Yes.
Right. Lady Gaga. Right. So Lady Gaga, I went to the BB&T recently with Oprah in January. And you were there, and she was talking to her. Did you hear her say that Lady Gaga gave her permission to be Stephanie because she was so bullied and she had such low self-esteem that when she created Lady Gaga, that Lady Gaga gave her permission to be Stephanie, to be able to be an actress, to be able to follow her passions. Because now she's comfortable being Stephanie when she wasn't before Lady Gaga. So an alter ego is a really fun thing that you can do, but it changes your state like that. It changes you from being maybe someone who might be a little shy and timid, and immediately you step into your alter ego and boom, you are you, like 10 levels up. So, I'm going to tell you how these 7 secrets to audacious confidence work in action. How much time do I have? Because I have to work this. Okay. I have to work this thing all the time. Recently, let me say back in May of last year, I was asked to do a pageant. And it wasn't the first time that I was asked. It was the first pageant. But the same person asked me back in 2018. She asked me back in 2017. And each time she asked me, I said no. She was the owner of this pageant system in California. It's a national pageant. And I kept saying, no. Why do I need to do a pageant? I don't need to do a pageant, no. So last year she asked me again, and she asked me in May, she asked me in June, she asked me in July, and I kept saying, no, I do not want to do a pageant. It does not fit into what I'm doing. Why would I want to do a pageant? But she kept saying, think about it. So I said, okay, I'm going to think about it. So then she called me back again in August. And she said, did you think about it? I said, oh. Why am I doing this pageant? I said, okay. So I started to think, and I thought, what am I resisting? That's number 5. What am I resisting? Why do I keep saying no? And I thought about it, and I realized, I talked to a few people, and I realized, I don't want to be judged. And I don't mean like the judge, like, look at her shoes. Not that kind of, I mean actually judged. They have judges who are going to tell you whether you're good enough. I don't want to be judged. So I stood there and I thought, that's not a good enough reason. Because if I'm teaching people to step out in audacious confidence and I don't want to be judged, I'm a fraud. I'm literally a fraud. So I said, okay. So, number 1, know myself, love myself. Okay, I know who I am. I know what my talents, assets, gifts, and skills are. I secretly always wanted to be in a pageant. So, I could put that under passions. So let me see. Okay, I'm going to do this. So I said yes to something that I was always saying no to because I didn't really have a relevant reason. So I've covered 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. 2, I became prepared. The minute I said yes to this thing, I said I'm all in, let's do this thing, let's go. So, I got prepared. What do I need to know? What do I need to do? I got all the information and I started pulling all the stuff together that I needed for this pageant. And number 6, my alter ego. Well, my alter ego was the beauty queen anyway. Yes, she was. I had a little tiara. So I'd walk around when I'm speaking, I'd put on my little tiara, my red lipstick, and I'd be like, yes, queens are poised and they're graceful. You know, they're beautiful and they're, you know, they don't get flustered or flubbed or anything like that. So I went to California in November, and what do you know?
I think she should put on.
First time entering a pageant, and I win.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so that is audacious confidence in action. Go through your list. Go through your checklist. What do you have? What do you do? Can I do this? Yes, I can. All right, let's go. Let's go do this thing. Steve Martin says, be so good they can't ignore you. So instead of kicking you out, they're promoting you. Or they can't live without you. That's the key. You got to be so good that they can't ignore you. And then you'll kick that dreaded imposter syndrome to the curb. So if you want, you know, I have a PDF of the 7 Secrets to Audacious Confidence. You can go to my website, AliciaGree.com, and you can download that for free. And if anybody wants to contact me, the QR code's there. You can go to Alicia360.com. My contact information is there. You can download it. Yes, sir?
A comment on cognitively structuring, a useful wisecrack. Changing your mind proves you have one.
Yes, it sure does. I didn't even use the microphone, and everybody heard me okay, right?
Yeah.
Perfect, that's my actor's voice.
We have 5 minutes for questions.
Any other questions? No questions?
Well, I think you did a great job instilling confidence.
I want to see you wear. I want to see you put the crown.
Oh gosh,
That's
so we
nice.
had to have a platform, we had to do a speech or a talent, and so my platform, of course, was Audacious Confidence, because I'm spreading it across the world. And so we had a table we had to set up with, what are you doing? So the whole thing is, what are you doing in your life to promote this platform? So I had, you know, I speak at in front of youth, I speak to other people. I got the Boys and Girls Club Award, and so I empower youth with confidence. So I had things on my table, awards and different things on my table to show that I am actually doing this. This isn't just something on a whim. So we had a platform table. I had to give a platform speech. I had to also give a speech in front of the judges and other people in the audience. We got interviewed, we had personal interviews by a panel of judges, and then the last day was the actual, like, on stage. So we did the walk on stage. We did a, it wasn't swimsuit, but like active wear. So I jumped rope. I jumped rope. I actually jumped rope down the stage. I didn't just carry a rope like somebody else. I jumped rope, you know, so. And then evening gowns, and then, yeah, they announced the winners, so yeah,
I
so
love
you asked
it.
me to put the crown on.
Yes.
So the funny thing is, this crown was so big, they put it on my head, and then afterwards I was doing an interview. I was doing an interview with one of the stations there, and the whole thing fell right down to my head. And then it got all tangled up in my hair. So I was a hot mess. I was like, see, first time queen. So this is the actual big
Woohoo!
That was too big.
No, my head was not too big. I'm sure it is.
Gorgeous.
So, yeah.
Woohoo!